All right, good morning, everyone. Arnold Barboza against Jack Catterall today, WBO interim title. Right, Teofimo Lopez is currently holding the full title. Okay, these guys are gonna fight today, later this afternoon. Okay, it's a UK card, so it's gonna be in the afternoon for us. I'm here on the East Coast. I think the card starts around 2 p.m. Eastern. It's gonna be on dazn. All right, I'm not gonna do the fight live. I'm not gonna cover it live. I'm not gonna be able to. I think the main event is around 5 p.m. Eastern. Like I said, I didn't have time to do film study and all that, so I'm not gonna do a full breakdown. But from what I know from the two, both of these guys, they beat the former champions, the former top dogs. All right, Arnold recently beat Jose Ramirez in his most recent fight. Very recently, he beat him on points, and I believe he was a slight underdog in that fight. I believe he was. And then Jack Catterall beat Josh Taylor. All right. He should have won the first fight, in my opinion, but he did win the rematch. At that point, the titles were not on the line for that fight. And he also beat Regis Prograde recently, too. Um, so both of these guys, Jack, I believe he's undefeated, but he does have one loss to Josh Taylor, and Arnold's undefeated. But Arnold's had his struggles in his fight. He's been knocked down against Alex Saucedo. He has a fight in there recently that I don't think he won. Okay, but he did good against Jose Ramirez in his most recent fight, and now these guys are fighting. Both of these guys are really good boxers. Both of these guys are really different approaches. Catterall, more of a defensive fighter, a big counter puncher. Doesn't really lead too much. I mean, we've seen him leading a little bit more in his most recent fights, especially with the Josh Taylor rematch. But most likely, he likes to fight on his back foot. He likes to have his back against the ropes and counter, looking at for opportunities to counter you and set traps and throws his combinations and stuff like that. I think the only real downfall with him is that when he begins to fade a little bit, his defense begins to fade with it. He's kind of like Caleb Plant. Caleb Plant's very, very good defensive fighter, but once he starts to burn out a little bit, his defensive, his defense starts to falter a little bit. You know what I mean? And that's when he becomes a little bit more hittable. But Catterall's been in there tough. He's been in there with some good action fights, like Pro Gray and the Taylor rematch. He's been in there and he's shown that he can trade, he can exchange a little bit. And he has sneaky power. He's dropped Taylor twice in two different fights. He dropped Regis Prograde. He was hurt, and I think he hurt Jorge Linares. I haven't seen that fight since the night of the fight, but he has sneaky power. He got some pop. He's not a KO artist, but he has pop. So those are his strengths. He's a southpaw. And you got Arnold Barboza, who's an orthodox fighter, also a boxer, not as big of a puncher, but very quick hands. Good counter puncher as well. I don't think he's a great initiator, but I think he's more willing to come forward, and I expect him to come forward in this fight. I think I think I think overall the body of work, I would have to give it to Catterall. Barbosa, in my opinion, didn't beat Sean McComb. McComb is a southpaw that is a pretty slick guy. I remember watching the fight. The guy was able to connect and counter Barbosa in between his combinations, and he had that good Philly shell defense, rolling the punches, countering with short shots, and I really don't think that Barbosa had an answer for that. I think he just kind of outworked him. He started to pick up some in the later rounds, which may happen in this fight, which I'm expecting to happen in this fight. But I think this could be a close fight. You know, um, the only money that I'm putting down for this fight is a draw. Okay, um, Barbosa is the underdog here. I'm not expecting him to win. Okay, but if he does win, or even if Jack wins, I'm expecting like a split decision or a majority decision like that, something like that. You know, Jack, I think the one issue that I'm concerned about him is him fading in a later rounds, and Barboza coming forward, throwing more punches, is beating him off activity in the later rounds. But I think Jack early on is going to secure enough rounds to probably edge a close decision. But either way, I'm seeing it split decision, majority decision. I expect one judge at least to pick one of the two fighters. I'm putting a little bit money on a draw. I wouldn't be surprised if this is a draw. I wouldn't be surprised if there's some dead periods in this fight because they're both waiting to counter. Um, I'm leaning towards Jack. If you have to pick someone, I'm leaning towards Jack to win on points. Okay, I think he's more capable of buzzing Arnold with a shot. Um, I think he's been in there a little tougher. I think he's looked a little bit more impressive throughout his career. Even if he fades, I still think he's going to secure enough rounds. So if I had to pick a winner, I'm going with Jack Catterall in a close decision. Even if he fades late, I still think he might do enough to pull it off. The fight is in the UK. If this fight was in the States, it might be a different way. All right, but the fight's in the UK, and I'm expecting Jack to pull off a close decision win, if not a draw. But I'm expecting him to pull off a close decision win. Okay, so that's my quick prediction. Let me know what you think in the comments. I won't be live for this one. I just wanted to give you my thoughts because I got a lot of questions about it last night when I was on live for the Keyshawn fight. All right, so I'll be looking forward to your comments. Please subscribe to the channel, smash the thumbs up, share the video, and I'll see you guys later. Have a good night.